I have given a name to my pain. The Batman.
Always waiting for some Batman to save you.
It's simple. We kill the Bat of Gotham.
You don't really think you'll win, do you?
I'm Batman.
Hey now, welcome to episode 20 of the Batman on Film vlog. I am your host of this here vlog, and I am the founder, editor-in-chief of Batman on Film, Jett, Ramey, coming at you from Tomball, Texas. Tomball, Texas. And the pride of Mesquite, Texas is joining me today. And
I just wonder at where on people's give a shit meter is where we live in Texas, and I don't live, and that's where I'm from. I don't live there.
That's essentially, sir. It's a suburb of Dallas, so you live in the greater Dallas area, right?
Right. Where I live now is also a suburb of Dallas.
Yes,
that's
Plano.
35 miles west of where I grew up.
You're still the whatever.
And you grew up on the Louisiana border. Are you?
Almost.
I mean, you're kind of a Texan, but you're more like kind of a hybrid, right?
No, I'm a pure Texan, sir. Born. My mother's mother was born in Louisiana. That is my only. My three other grandparents were born in Texas, and I'm a native Texan. And I was not on the border. I mean, I can throw a rock and hit Louisiana from my hometown of Groves, Texas, but I mean, really, I was about 35, 40 miles from the border. But it had its benefits, I can tell you that, in high school, back when the drinking age in Louisiana was, I don't give a shit, and drinking age in Texas was 19 when I was in high school. You don't remember that, do you?
No.
Okay.
It was always 21. Well, yeah. Maybe it was 18 when I was born, but it was
18
21.
when I was a sophomore in high school, changed to 19, and it changed to 21 in 1986, Rick. Where were you in 1986?
7th grade?
Okay.
That's right.
Anyway,
Is that right? 86.
Back to my co-host, the pride of Mesquite, Texas. That would be
I live in Dallas.
Rick Shew, you live in Plano. If you want to get technical, about it?
Sure.
And are you ashamed of you're getting above your raisin, Rick?
No. I'm just wondering how many people have already turned the show off.
No, they love. Let's talk about. We're going to talk weather. Let me tell you something.
No, we're going to talk Huey Lewis in the news at one point as well. So
we will.
We're going to talk about what your loose definition of rock and roll.
Let's do it now. No, we'll do it at the end. They are not a Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame worthy band.
It's nonsense.
That's not nonsense.
Under every criteria,
no.
Huey Lewis in the news is 100% fits the bill to go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
They're not going to get in. If Soundgarden's not in, which Soundgarden was the first of the Seattle sound grunge bands, and not Nirvana. Nirvana is in, so is Pearl Jam. Soundgarden should be in.
Soundgarden should be in. There's a lot of it
should not be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They didn't influence anybody. They had a run in the 80s, and that's about it.
Well, first of all, he's been around since the early 70s. He played harmonica on Thin Lizzy's one of their best records. They had a string of amazing albums.
Boys Back in Town.
They had that's a track, but the actual record. But they had they toured successfully all through the 90s. They had songs in the 90s. They still tour today. Well, actually, they're not touring anymore because, unfortunately, he's losing his hearing. They just had to cancel their tour. Anywhere they go, they sell out. They are the quintessential rock. They are one of the best rock and roll bar bands of all time. Do they have a pop influence? Well, sure, but My goodness, you could say that about.
Look, I've said before, I don't care. There's some pop acts that should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's blues acts that should be and are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Look, I don't dislike Huey Lewis and the News. They're fine. I'm not a huge fan, but I'm just being objective. They shouldn't be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That's ridiculous. Man. That's ridiculous.
No.
So wait a minute.
They had no influence on. No.
Who did Def Leppard influence? You think Def Leppard should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Who the hell? Def Leppard's borderline.
Who the hell have they influenced?
They're one of the. Let's see.
And everything after Pyromania was pop rock. Give me a break.
Def Leppard's borderline. They're borderline.
The semantics. I want you to read or watch American Psycho with our very own Batman Christian Bale and his lecturing about Huey Lewis and News. I think it'll do you some good. Maybe if you hear it from Bell, you'll.
That's the writings of a screenwriter. It's not.
That's
not the opinion of Christian Bale. It will not sway me whatsoever.
You will understand the greatness that is Huey Lewis and the News.
I just can't even knowing you being a huge. Motley Crue should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Of course they should. There's a lot of bands that should. There's still some rap artists that should. There's some blues artists that certainly should. Rock and roll and what it influences something that's it's sort of subjective anyway. I mean, what do you say? What did Motley Crue influence? Well, what did Soundgarden influence? I can tell you what Soundgarden was influenced by.
Yeah.
Black Sabbath inspired Soundgarden.
Yes. Yeah.
But who did Soundgarden? You see what I'm saying? That's why it's hard to when I look at something like Huey Lewis and the News, what they were able to do was straightforward, just pure fun rock and roll in an era that was just bombastic. For them to be relevant in a decade where you had to have big hair and leather and pyrotechnics and everything, that's to me was what stood out about them. They're selling 10 million records the same year, acts like Bon Jovi and Motley Crue and, for that matter, Michael Jackson and Madonna were selling big records. And they didn't have that sort of, they didn't have those stage antics or that persona. They were just a bunch of dudes playing instruments, and you feel like you could approach them at a bar. And I think that inspires musicians, that you didn't have to be flashy. I can make an argument that Huey Lewis and News could have inadvertently inspired grunge music, because they said, look, even Huey Lewis in a time when things were so crazy with hair and whatnot, you can strip things down. You can strip things down to basics. Maybe it is.
Huey Lewis and the News had no influence on grunge. On Nirvana, Soundgarden.
You know who would agree with me? You know who would agree? You know who would agree with me about all this?
Who would agree?
The Boss.
The Boss.
Bruce Springsteen. Yes, he would absolutely agree with me about my assessment of Huey Lewis.
Well, have you talked to him lately?
I have. He texted me earlier.
That's horseshit.
He absolutely.
I know he didn't text you, but I mean, why would Bruce Springsteen agree with you?
Because he's a huge fan. They have collaborated, and I know that he understands their significance. Well, and come on, dude. Listen.
I'm not.
Their contribution.
Are you a Springsteen fan?
Their contribution to Back to the Future alone is monumental.
Really? Come on, man.
Sure.
That's not going to get you.
That's iconic.
No.
It's one of the most. It's one of the most iconic
80s film. That's it. It's not anything to do with rock and roll.
It's about pop culture in general. I'm just talking about.
It's the Pop Culture Hall of Fame.
You're right, but it had to have a right rock and roll song to have all those little things up. I feel like I want to get on my megaphone like Huey Lewis did in Back to the Future.
Look, you're
just too darn loud, Bill.
You're just too hip to
Sorry,
be square
cut. You're too darn loud.
For me to keep up with you, my friend. So,
you're right. So one of their best songs is "The Heart of Rock and Roll." Right? It's not the heart of pop rock.
Well, it's a pop song. There's not even any rock in it.
So is Love Bites.
Yeah.
So is Don't Go Away Mad, Just Go Away. So is Billie Jean.
Yeah.
All right, we can talk a little bit more.
I'm going to cut all this shit out probably. No, I'm probably not because it's too good. I've never said.
Don't you dare cut any of this out.
There should be pop, country, bluegrass.
Ask Garth Brooks how he feels about
Blues.
Huey Lewis.
I
They've
don't care
also
what Garth
they've
Brooks-
also collaborated
Good.
and do it. Rock,
Good for Garth Brooks. The bottom end of the day, Huey Lewis News is a very successful. They had a band that was synonymous in some regards to some of the 80s, and that's it. That's it. You can't put Huey Lewis in the News in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame based on what he did with Thin Lizzy in the 1970s.
It's looking at his career from 30,000 feet.
Okay, then you put him in, or you put the News in.
Well, it's kind of semantics. You're going to put the band in, but he is the leader of the band. His name's the marquee of the band.
Nothing he did solo has anything to do with putting the News in. That's the same thing with Ozzy. Ozzy is not in, even though
you don't think that all that
Black
gets
Sabbath
taken
is in.
All that gets taken into consideration. And by the way,
no, it doesn't.
That should
Then why isn't Ozzy in as a solo artist?
Is there? Let me ask you this: Is there a person that is in? And I don't know the answer to this question. I really don't. Is there a person? Because when you're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and you're Van Halen,
yes.
David Lee Roth is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
No, Van Halen's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I understand that, but he's an honorary member of the band. He's there. Anything that represents that band, they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
The band is in, not the individual.
I understand that, but the individuals make up the band, Bill.
I understand that, but
it's getting this. No. Let me. I'm trying to frame a question. I'm framing a question.
Go.
Is there an artist? And I'm trying to think if there is one. Surely there might be. But is there an artist that's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame through a band and solo?
Yes. And
Who?
I can't name it offhand, but I know there are.
Is Phil Collins in by himself, and then Genesis?
Genesis, perhaps. I know. Look, McCartney is likely in as both. So is John Lennon.
But are they there?
Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton's probably in both.
And Cream?
Cream, yeah.
You know what? We should have verified
Yardbirds.
this, because it's relevant if this stuff is accurate, but we're just speculating. All right, let's move on.
Okay.
It's the heart of rock and roll's beat.
What
I see and I believe it.
Boom, boom. I'm walking out this bar, wherever, because they're the greatest bar that
Heart
comes
of rock and roll.
And whoever puts that
Still
on,
beating.
yeah. In Cleveland, I'm sure it is, because that's where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is. Yeah.
Detroit. Well, there's a good Austin plug in there. He says San Antonio. And he says San Antonio, not San Antonio.
So you heard this in the 80s when you were in junior high and thought,
are we going to dedicate this blog?
This moves me to my core in my musical core.
I want to say that this blog is dedicated to F.J. DeSanto and to Ryan Haas, who made it clear on Twitter that we're idiots for doing this topic. So, to them.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
What do we have
here?
here?
Regroup here. The annoyance factor of Huey Lewis in the News. Even to say, what is it? It started with "This Is It." You saying that's one of the greatest songs of all time?
No, I said it's a perfect rock song. It's not the way it's written.
It's a doo-wop song.
It's a great rock. It's a rock and roll song. There's variations of rock and roll.
I know that.
There's heavy metal. There's pop rock. There's straightforward rock and roll, and a lot of acts, you know, they dabble in all of it. Talked about Motley Crue. They certainly do. They had a lot of pop rock songs.
I would say, I mean, my iPod, I don't even use iPod,
the glam rock power ballad and a song by
name genres, and I'll tell you if I've got it, and I'll name an artist and song I've got in my rotation.
Let's move on.
Come on, I'm serious. Let's go.
All right, let's make it quick. Okay. R&B.
Robert Johnson, Howlin' Wolf Burnett.
Okay.
Big Mama Thornton.
Okay. Heavy metal.
Metallica, man.
Straightforward rock and roll.
What do you mean straightforward rock and roll?
Okay, when I think straightforward rock and roll, I think ZZ Top.
Well, ZZ Top.
I think AC/DC.
AC/DC, absolutely.
A band that never used a piano or
Led Zeppelin. Okay.
All right.
Country. Merle Haggard, George Jones, George Strait.
What about rap?
Let's see. Public Enemy.
Public Enemy were strong.
Eminem absolutely is in there.
Dr. Dre will tell you he's the greatest rap artist that's ever lived.
Perhaps.
He's like, this is supposed to be black music, and it is, but make no mistake, and I'm paraphrasing here, but Eminem's the best rapper ever lived.
We're 16 minutes into this.
And Eminem is, I'm a huge fan of him and Dre for that matter.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's chalk it up. We'll agree to disagree about Huey Lewis and the News, but we will agree that
Huey Lewis and the News is a great music, right? Rock and roll bar band.
Okay.
I'm glad you're not on the committee.
I do not have Huey Lewis and the News in my collection. I do not.
Brian Haas, this show's for you, buddy.
You got Michael Jackson in yours.
Hey, by the way, I picked up the White Knight. I have 6 and 7.
About Batman.
Yeah, well, we're not going to get into the White Knight. I don't want to get into it because we're going to wait. But just know I'm caught up, and dude.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'll just say this: seeing Dick in his Gotham, gear.
Yeah.
It's
okay. You're getting where you want to start talking about it.
It's just that's pretty amazing.
Is number
just
let me ask you this, and we'll move on. Issue number 7 is one of the greatest. How I want to say this, pre-conclusion issues I've ever read in my life.
All I know, let's keep pounding that drum to have Murphy on the show, dude.
Sean Murphy, come on, dude.
When this is over.
Come on. I got to get you. We got to talk White.
It's a masterpiece, and I want to sit down and read it all from beginning to finish, and one book.
It'll be great to read like that. All right. So on episode 20 of the Batman on Film podcast, we're going to talk a little DC on film.
But you know what? Yeah. You know what? I don't want to see that made into a live action film because I don't know if it would translate well. I'm just kind of giving.
I think the premise would.
Yeah.
The premise. I mean, the core premise, and this is not a spoiler, but if you want to read it, you need to know the premise. It's the Joker is not the Joker anymore, and he convinces Gotham to turn against Batman by portraying him as the cause of all of Gotham's problems. He's
elected to the Senate, and he has Harley Quinn on his side.
City Council.
City Council, sorry, not the Senate. City Council. He's elected to the City Council, and then he has Harley Quinn by his side. He's turned Gotham against Batman, everybody, including Barbara and Dick, including Gordon, including everyone.
Okay. Yeah.
Nobody. I'm just kidding.
It's man, I could go on. Okay, you're right.
All right, let's move on.
All right, real quick, make sure Batman on Film is part of the Batman Podcast Network. We're also the host of the Batman Podcast Network, and you can check out all the shows at BatmanPodcastNetwork.com. Why do I mention this on a vlog? Because I take the audio from the vlogs and put them up as a podcast as well. And if you like what we do here at Batman on Film, go over to patreon.com/BatmanOnFilm if you would like to contribute, because everything goes right back into the website. And thank you to all of our Patreons over at patreon.com. All right, here's what we're going to talk about, Rick. And I shot you. Well, we talked on the phone. I said, hey, I got an idea.
20 minutes into the show.
Yes, it seems like
for the 8 people still listening, we're going to talk about.
Yeah, there's fast forward button. So.
We should have a courtesy thing that says this gets relevant to why you're listening at 21:17.
You know what? That's a good idea. Okay, it was a good idea.
No, don't do that.
No, look. Right now there are. Let's see. Aquaman, which is in the can. There is Wonder Woman 2, which is about to start filming, and there is Shazam, which is filming. 3 DC films. 3 DC films. Are definitely going to happen, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and also I guess we'll have to mention Matt Reeves is signed to potentially direct a Batman film, a standalone solo Batman film.
He's been pretty chatty on Twitter about that.
And
lately.
He is writing the screenplay as we speak. Whether or not that happens, we shall see. Correct.
I'm a little bit more optimistic than I was even a year ago, just by virtue of his Twitter activity.
Yeah.
Somebody asked him, I think yesterday, it said, give me one film you'd love to direct if you had on a wish list or something like that. He quoted the tweet and said, a Batman film.
Oh, I know he had said he threw out some of his favorite.
And he's doing that. And I think that's a little different than just playing coy. I think that, there might be something in there.
Was that a story, Rick? Was that tweet a story? What stories he likes?
It's hard to say.
I didn't post anything. I didn't think it was worth.
Yeah, no, don't believe me.
And not to be, I'm not trying to be a party pooper, but I mean, it's kind of, it was generic. I mean, he throws out, Year One, The Long Halloween. I mean, a lot of the ones that people would automatically mention. He does mention one.
Well, he mentions a lot of. He has a lot of references to things that inspired Chris Nolan for Batman Begins.
He does. He mentions.
He's going to reboot Batman Begins.
The original Batman comics from the early 1940s. He mentions Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil, I believe. So anyway, that's, we can't put that film under "it's going to happen" for sure right now. I hope so, right? You hope so. I hope so.
Right.
Dude, if he walked, it would be a disaster. That's a whole different topic, but it would be. Please don't leave, Matt Reeves. We need you. And but they have Warner Brothers has announced, and if you didn't see my hands, I was doing the quotation marks via the trades, 3 other films. And you know what happens, Rick? What happens when this when they do this? When they release or announce that someone's been hired to direct or someone's been hired to write a script?
Well, sorry,
the reaction?
Sun's coming in there.
All right.
Okay, the reaction is everybody assumes that it's an official statement, and they start tweeting it out, and they start taking it as gospel.
Yes,
and
it's going to happen for sure. It's happening.
Happen for sure.
Can't wait.
And all the speculation, all the clickbait stuff starts and everything. And I'm not saying it's not news that you shouldn't report. It absolutely is. But it's just
it's news you should report. But it's the assuming that people do once they do that. So are they? Here's my question. And here are the projects I'm speaking about. They have announced that Ava DuVernay, I believe, if I've mispronounced that, I apologize, is going to potentially direct New Gods, which, anyway. Recently, Kathy Yan has been tapped to direct a solo Harley Quinn film that's kind of been gestating here for a while now, and as, what was it, Gotham City Sirens, and who knows what this is could end up being. And then they do have a writer attached to Batgirl, Christina Hodson. That does not mean any of these films will come to fruition. I think of those 3...
Harley Quinn.
Yes, okay. Harley Quinn will probably happen because... Why, Rick? I mean, that's...
Well, because first of all, you have Margot Robbie that's already established as the character, and she's riding high on critical acclaim from...
Tanya Harding. Yeah.
So thank you, Tanya. Yeah. Tanya Harding.
Tanya.
Tanya, right. So I think that because of her popularity and because she's already established and as in Suicide Squad, I think that we'll get that film. I do. I don't think they would just play with that, especially when it's specifically talking about her returning as the character. I think we'll get that. The other 2, who knows? Up in the air. 50-50, 60-40, I don't know.
I think New Gods has a chance. I think I would give it a 50-50 proposition right now. I do not think Batgirl will ever happen.
Why do you think it'll never happen? Weird time of day with the sun, man. Okay, I can't trust this enough.
Well, at least you have sun there. Let's see. Why do I not think it'll happen? Well, I think its original inception, the reason why it was announced with Joss Whedon, we know why that took place, correct?
Right.
Okay. It was more of a smokescreen to kind of smokescreen, I guess, provide a smokescreen for Josh's involvement with Justice League.
Right.
I think. I mean, you don't even
I
have,
think,
you
but
don't
I
have a
think
director attached.
I think there's an appetite for a Batgirl film. It would, you know, obviously if it's done properly and everything. I mean, that's the key to all of this, right? I mean, but I just think at the end of the day, when we have these announcements and people don't learn from history, they don't look back and they get so excited. I'm like,
that's
listen,
my whole point. Are they back to doing what they were doing before?
Right. We've been down this road before. They announced the slate of films and none of them come to fruition. None of them, or very few do. Right.
Yes.
And it's happening a lot, particularly with Warner Brothers and DC.
Yes.
And so just don't get emotionally invested. Look, right now, all I'm hoping for sure is I definitely want to see Margot Robbie return as Harley Quinn in some capacity.
I'm down for that.
I mean, she is electrifying in that role. Love her, period, in that role particularly. And I obviously want to see a Henry Cavill Superman sequel. I'm getting a little bit more optimistic that might happen.
Why?
Maybe just and it may just be, honestly, it just may be wishful thinking. But at least
that's where I'm at. You know how I feel about that. If you're listening and watching, you know how I feel. I've said I want to see Henry Cavill get a proper sequel to Man of Steel. That is a Superman film. Period.
Well, if our buddy Mario F. Robles is correct, and Superman does have a cameo in Shazam, at least maybe that adds credence to the idea that he'll do another film. I mean, surely
you're like me, and you're not in favor of that happening.
I'm not in favor of it, but I'll just say this: I thought that Justice League was going to be the last time we saw him, because I thought this is all just too toxic. They're just going to want to walk away from it. They might be doubling down on some of this, and I always said I hope that I'm wrong, and I hope that these actors still get their day in the sun because they deserve it. I just didn't know from a business standpoint if they would do that. I wasn't convinced that they would. If he does indeed pop up in Shazam, because that's a new film, it's a new franchise, so to speak. They want that to be successful. If they feel like putting Henry Cavill Superman in there would help, even albeit a cameo, that at least tells me that they're not done with Henry Cavill. So that's why that's the one silver lining if he's in there, that means that hopefully that means that they're doing a sequel with him. Now listen, if they put him in there and then they don't do a sequel, it'll be even worse than not putting him in there at all. In other words, really, you used him again for a cameo and then you dumped him after that, or it all fell apart.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Total bullshit.
I've heard absolutely nothing moving on a Superman film.
No.
Honestly, nothing. And
There's a new director that's now being rumored attached to it. What's his name? I don't even remember, but it doesn't matter because I just this stuff just kind of goes these days because
the guy who did Days of Future Past.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
And also the.
But I just say I don't care about it because I don't even somewhat believe that.
You think Warner Brothers is just not?
No, what I mean by that is I don't believe any announcements of anything specific in terms of who's attached to the film to write it.
This is kind of
it's official because this thing's been all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. So get back to the question at hand. Are they back to announcing things that may or not happen?
It appears they may be.
And why? Why would they be doing that after they've done it? They've been criticized for it. They've said they were going to change their ways.
Maybe they're not
course correct. I mean, a lot of it is. You know what? Someone told me, and I won't mention who it is, and it's someone with a lot of inside. Well, I say inside. He knows a lot. He works in the business, and told me these are things that make stockholders feel good.
Maybe it sells comics. Stockholders feel good. Maybe they put it out there and they monitor and test the social media buzz about it or lack thereof. I don't know. Can be a number of things.
But aren't you getting back into? I mean, look at all. I mean, we've had them tried out directors at Comic-Con, and only I think two of them are left.
Yeah.
James Wan and Patty Jenkins. Ben Affleck gone. You know.
Right. There's no talk.
Zack Snyder gone.
There's not a lot of talk of Flashpoint anymore either. Not chatter online about it anyway.
No, nothing online. I'll leave it at that. I fear that they're back to doing what they used to do, and it's, you know, because I see the reaction that people have. I mean, there are folks who think that New Gods will happen 100%. Batgirl is going to happen 100%. The Harley Quinn film, which likely will happen, but they're convinced it's just a matter of, I mean, I just don't, after what all they've been through the last, since BBS came out in 2016, I'm not, are you leery of their approach? Do you trust what they're doing? What's your whole, I mean, you know.
Well, here's what I
don't
trust.
know, man.
I trust Patty Jenkins with the Wonder Woman franchise. I think that we're in for a treat for Wonder Woman 2. I'm cautiously optimistic about James Wan's Aquaman. Shazam, I want to see a trailer for that. It looks, the idea of it sounds great. We'll see. But I'm most concerned about what happens with Batman at the end of the day, and that's my primary concern. And I don't really know where I stand on that. I just feel like that some of this stuff, this Twitter chatter that he's been doing, is that it seems to be a little bit amped up, and I'm just wondering if that is some sort of hint, or he's alluding to the fact that he's working. I don't know, man. I don't want to look too much into it. I just that's my primary concern. Get Batman right. Get Superman a sequel, and then all these other characters that I do love, we'll just see how they play out. But look, we've got Wonder Woman in good hands. Aquaman is probably going to be good, right? I don't have any reason to think it won't. And Shazam's coming. Continue on with Margot Robbie. Do something with Cavill. Matt Reeves Batman. They do those things, and all this other stuff, whether it's Batgirl or Flash or Cyborg or whatever. I won't care as much. If these things happen, then at least there's a good trajectory for me.
Do you care at all about this Joker? I put it together, Joker and Origin. This Joker Origin film.
This Scorsese produced thing. Sure. I mean, I do, just from the fact
Todd
that
Phillips
I like the people. Yeah. I like the people involved that are rumored to be involved anyway. The jury's out on that one, man. That could be real interesting and cool. It could also be uninspiring and pointless. I don't know, but I will.
Look, I'm just like, here's where I'm at. I kind of took them at their word. You know, back when that Vulture article was written, they knew they had a mess on their hands with Justice League. They got through it. They promised to course correct and do things differently moving forward, and then they start, announcing writers attached to things, and I know that, I know that doesn't mean it's going to happen, but fans oftentimes believe that they're announcing the project as happening, as opposed to just in development, and that we're going to see if we can make something out of this. Would they be better off to just not say anything until a film is going to happen, period?
Yes.
Yeah.
When it's official, when there's a script that has been stamped with approval and actors have signed their contracts, announce it. Now, if things leak and the usual suspects out on the internet pick up things, hey, it's rumored so and so's doing something, so and so may star in it, whatever. We're never going to get away from that. That's the internet.
Yeah.
But I don't like these announcements from the actual studios when they're not official. That's bullshit.
Well, I will say, Marvel announces things and they happen.
They happen.
I mean, there's been maybe one or two projects that they've canceled. Maybe just one. I think it was the Inhumans. It was going to be a film at one time, but I may be wrong. I don't follow Marvel all that closely as far as.
And and who's to say that it won't?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it just may be a little late, but I think some of these will never happen. Is the problem?
Okay, Batgirl. Real quick. What if Matt Reeves' Batman film? There is no Batgirl yet, or maybe there never will be. Why move forward with one? You can just make it its own thing and just go.
Well, look, I've said that all along, and you just talked about the Joker film that's going to have nothing to do with these films. Whether or not Matt Reeves reboots his Batman, or it's a soft reboot, or hell, it's a direct sequel to Justice League, whatever of those three things that happen, the Joker Scorsese-produced thing will have nothing to do with any of those scenarios. Yeah. So if that's the case and they're willing to go down that road, Why the hell not? I've said that. Let Matt Reeves do his own damn movie. And the Batman, the Batfleck, that Ben Affleck Batman, whether it's him or somebody else playing that Batman, let him be in Suicide Squad too. Look, it's weird that it's not weird. That would not even been in consideration 20 years ago or 10 years ago. In 2018, you can do it. You can get away with that kind of stuff. You just can. Things coexist all the time now. And I know sometimes it's TV to film, but did we ever think we'd have 2 live-action Supermans at the same time? It's unheard of. That would have been unheard of. But now it's not a big deal. We kind
of did with Smallville and Superman Returns, you know.
And that was the early 2000s, and that was when things started to shift a little bit, and that was the first time. You're correct, but not before that. You know, that's 2006, 2007.
But how many, like the dude from Supergirl who played Superman, that Superman and Supergirl on TV? I mean, the mainstream movie-going audience, what percentage of them even has Supergirl on their radar? No,
I understand, and I that's why I said that. That's why I said I understand this is TV to film. I'm just saying that if they're willing to take that step, look. If Jared Leto's Joker is still going to exist in the Suicide Squad world, and then we're going to have is Phoenix still talking about playing the Joker? Is that still even in the talks? I don't know. Whatever Joker that ends up being, they'll coexist because we know that's not going to be the same. Why not?
Who says that? I mean, is the Joker going to be in the Harley Quinn film?
Who says that Batgirl can't just be her own film? I don't know.
I mean, why not? I still don't think that's going to happen. And then then you bring up the Harley Quinn. A Harley Quinn film, by default, is a kind of sort of Batman film. She's a Batman character.
That's what Suicide Squad was.
Yes, same thing.
Killer Croc.
And so then is this the same continuity? I don't know, man. I think they've made a mess of things, and now they're having issues. They got some things that worked, some things that didn't, and you're trying to job continuity in there, and
we said this from the very beginning.
It's just a cluster F, in my opinion.
In some ways, they would have been better off if just the whole thing just sucked, and then they were just forced to start over. But at least they would have a clean slate. Now they're like, oh, what do we do? This doesn't work. No one cares about this, but we can't get rid of her as Wonder Woman or her as Harley Quinn. We can't. You know what I'm saying? You have to salvage those characters or those particular incarnations of those characters because they're wonderful. But then when you do that, then you're still kind of stuck with that universe that you brought them out of. And so how do they handle that?
I guess. I think, Rick, that if we're going to say that, let's just soft reboot this, and if we're going to be able to soft reboot Aquaman, if you're going to soft reboot Wonder Woman 2 or the Wonder Woman films, I guess you can soft reboot Harley Quinn as well.
I don't know if they're soft. I don't know if they're soft rebooting those characters.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean when I'm saying.
Well, they are doing some kind of sort of soft rebooting going forward.
We'll see. Listen, we don't know. They make a lot of weird changes at the last minute too. Lex wasn't in Justice League. We knew that. And then even after the first press screening,
that's another mistake they made. They put that scene in right before before its wide release, and have fans thinking that we're having Legion of Doom stuff coming up. I just don't. That's part of this announcing things that may not happen. It's maddening to a certain degree. So. Is what it is. We'll see what happens. We'll see what doesn't. I mean, I don't think Batgirl's going to happen. I think Harley Quinn is probably pretty locked in because of the popularity of the character and of Margot Robbie, as you said. New Gods, who in the hell knows? I mean, that whole thing in Justice League with Apocalypse and Steppenwolf and all that, Parademons, was horrible in that film.
Horrible.
But it's a very... If you make a New Gods film and just make a New Gods film in its own thing... There's a lot of possibilities. That's some good stuff from Jack Kirby. I don't see trying to infuse that into a shared cinematic universe. Just make its own damn thing. There's a lot of things you can do with that. Mr. Miracle and Big Barda and Darkseid and all that. All right, man.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Let's plug some stuff.
I have a 4-year-old who has a birthday party today. I have to go get it. I gotta go set it up. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Hosting one. There you go. I say not going to one.
It's my youngest. No, it's my youngest daughter's. She turned 4 last week, and today's her birthday party day.
Is it at your house?
No, we're doing it at Safari Run.
What is that?
Which is just a place that looks like a jungle with slides and games and, you know.
Okay. All right. Plug, man.
Follow me on Twitter, ShewRick, ShewRick. We have the most recent podcast up, Batman on Film. It's a Star Wars satellite show. Me, Ricky Church from Flickering Myth, and our very own Ryan Haas talk about The Last Jedi Blu-ray features and the last cinematic Solo trailer.
Okay. Anything else? No?
Oh, if you're on Facebook, go to follow the satellite Batman on Film. It's Batman on Film Shoes. SHEW''S. It's just fun. That's all I have.
Okay. That's all you got? All right. You can follow me on Twitter at Batman on Film. Again, check out the Batman Podcast Network, BatmanPodcastNetwork.com. Patreon, patreon.com/Batman on Film. What am I leaving out here, Rick? Anything we're missing this week?
We can talk about. No, I think you've covered it. We've got the new Twitter handle that Ryan launched for the Batman Podcast Network.
Yes.
Follow that.
Yes. At Batpod Network.
At Batpod Network.
That's over
yeah.
on Twitter.
Follow that.
I think that's it. Oh, I'm up to 1974. Yes, 1974 on the Batman timelines. Bringing up some stuff from old school Batman on Film. I reposted an article that Chris Cloud did back in 2013, ranking the top 10 best animated Batman episodes ever, and that includes all shows, all animated shows. And
he's a really good writer. Yes.
What else is up here recent? There's some good stuff up there. We got the you had a recent last week or this week. You did The Forgotten from Batman the Animated Series, so that's continuing. Comic book reviews. Chris Cloud did Action Comics 1000.
You ever gonna post my animated review?
It's up, Rick.
Oh, is it? Oh, you didn't tag me in it. You usually text me or tag me.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll go reshare it then. And speaking of Chris Cloud, I want to do another Superman show. We did one this year, right? With Shiraz Faruqi from Comic Book Debate. We had Zaki Hassan on. I think so, right? Oh, man, I can't remember. I'm getting too old. Everything bleeds together.
It's April, so probably.
It's Superman in cinema. It's really good. Go back and check it out. And then I want to do another Superman podcast, and I want Chris Cloud on this one.
Yeah, you want him on a Superman show for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, I do.
So just go to Batman on Film, peruse around. Lots of stuff from the beginning of the year, and like I said, I am some of the classic stuff from old school Batman on Film. I'm migrating over, and I'll have a lot more time to do that after the end of May. I promise. So for Rick, I'm Bill. Batman on Film, authoritative, definitive. Let's go, Rick, Mesquite,
and
Texas.
the dadgum original.
And we'll catch you next time.